Anything I say, you're just gonna like get mad at and you're just gonna hang up on me. So I feel like
I'm not gonna hang up on you. Here's what it is.
What does that even mean?
Nothing, Gabby. You want to be a dick to me now, so.
I don't want to be. Don't manipulate me.
Oh, Lord have mercy. If you say that one more time, I'm gonna choke out of you when I see you.
Well, I don't want to be choked.
Yes, you do. I don't think you have a choice in the matter.
Joe Richardson, civil rights attorney at McHugh Law Group, getting into it once again, breaking it down, the law and common sense.
First impression, what you're hearing is shocking. My thing here is stuck on stupid. Young and stupid. Not her, both of them. The conversation is young and stupid. The context is young and stupid. This venture, I wouldn't call it a union, whatever it is you want to call it, is young and stupid because all it's doing is creating problems for everybody around. Shannon Sharpe ought to know better because she's a little bit older. They're both adults here. It sounds like there's adult consent and at least for the existence of the relationship. But Shannon Sharpe particularly ought to know better because it would seem that he has so much more to lose. But then again, I'm talking about common sense. Speaking of Shannon, I saw a clip where Monique gave Shannon some very timely advice that would have saved him tens of millions of dollars. Check this out.
If a group of women were in here and it's like, come on, they talk to us. How this dating thing? Because it's Mo is different now than when you and I.
It's different, baby. I'm grateful I'm not 56 and trying.
But you tried to say that. What you tried to say? Mo,
I'm looking right at you.
I know you looking at me.
I ain't backing down. You better take your old ass and get somebody to love you.
Damn, Mo.
Now I'm looking right at y'all. Let me tell y'all what Shannon needs.
Let me
tell you what my baby needs. He need him an old fat gal who can bake good cakes, make some smothered turkey wings, who gonna rub his feet at the nighttime, okay, and gonna have a sip of his cognac to make him feel better about himself when he come home at night. That's what Shannon needs. You don't need no 26-year-old girl. You don't need no 36-year-old girl.
I don't need a 19-year-old one either. Monique, preach now. Preach, girl, preach.
Oh, this is your auntie talking to you. Take your old ass and get you an old bitch out there that can love you old. You trying to hang out with these young bitches and you can't do it, Shannon. You just can't do it. Damn. When they want you to go for the fourth round, you looking at her like, bitch, listen, you want some money to go to Starbucks? Yeah, because I can't go no further. But if you get your older girl, when you get to that fourth round, she's going to say, hold on. Let me go get you some eggs and cheese and some toast with apple butter, because that's going to get your energy back up. I'm talking right to you. Shit. So he thought I was going to be scared. Yes, I'm talking. And I know an old gal, she'd be good to you. Her name is Elladora. Now, when you know somebody named Elladora, she's old school. Mm-hmm. Now, Miss Elladora told me to tell you. She said, I think he like red velvet.
Oh, I do.
I say, Miss Elladora, if he do like that, she said, you let him know I got something for him.
Yeah, I like.
And she don't have no teeth. Come on, pick your glass up and clack for me. Come on now. These young gals will bite you. Okay?
Yeah. It's kind of hard. You drink something, but you don't listen. We're reminded of nuance. You know, Monique has gotten a lot of attacks over the last X number of years. You've seen her back and forth with different folks, whether it's Tyler Perry or whether it's, fill in the blank, whoever it is might be. But she wasn't making nothing but common sense in this whole thing. She let Shannon know. And Shannon had to know she was going to bring it anyway. One thing that Monique doesn't do is mince words. But it would have been nice if he'd listened because now he's risked his whole thing by not listening. And she was saying it with humor. She was making laugh and talking about women with no teeth and all this other stuff. But she was making all kinds of common sense. And sometimes you have to be nuanced. You have to agree with something everybody says, whether it's politics or comedy or entertainment or sports or whatever else. If somebody's making sense, you give them their flowers on that. Monique was trying to save his brother tens of millions of dollars, and she ultimately may not have been successful, but it's not because she didn't tell him. Let's take a look at a piece from the Sidebar podcast, and then we'll jump into it. All right.
I'm sincerely hopeful and prayerful that he is completely innocent of the allegations that have been levied against him. I can't sit here and speak to his innocence or guilt.
High-profile names are speaking out as NFL Hall of Famer and First Take analyst Shannon Sharpe steps away from ESPN temporarily in the wake of a $50 million rape and sexual assault lawsuit. Sharpe, who adamantly denies the allegations, called them false and disruptive in a social media statement released just as disturbing audio clips began making the rounds online. I'm going to break down what this move signals for his legal battle ahead and what celebrities are saying as the story continues to unfold. Welcome to Sidebar, presented by Law and Crime. I'm Jesse Weber. Shannon Sharpe, the Hall of Fame tight end, ESPN's First Take analyst, announced he is stepping away from the network temporarily after a Nevada woman filed a $50 million lawsuit accusing him of rape and sexual assault. Sharpe announced his decision to step away in a social media statement where he called the allegations false and disruptive, insisted that their relationship was, quote, 100% consensual. ESPN backed this decision, though, to take a break, calling the situation, quote, serious. Now, Sharpe's statement that was posted on his Instagram account on April 24th reads in full, quote, my statement is found here and this is the truth. The relationship in question was 100% consensual. At this juncture, I am electing to step aside temporarily from my ESPN duties. I will be devoting this time to my family and responding and dealing with false and disruptive allegations against me. I plan to return to ESPN at the start of the NFL preseason. I sincerely appreciate the overwhelming and ongoing support I have received from my family, friends, and colleagues. And following Sharpe's departure, as I mentioned, ESPN released its own statement supporting that decision. A spokesperson for the sports conglomerate wrote, this is a serious situation, and we agree with Shannon's decision to step away. Now, this move comes on the very same day that the NFL draft kicked off and in the midst of the highly anticipated return of the 2025 preseason. But the controversy has already cast a shadow over his career and, by the way, a rumored reported $100 million podcast deal, which we're going to talk about as well. Amidst all these claims, there have been some high-profile names who have come out to express their thoughts on the allegations. And we're going to get into what was said and who said what, because some of these responses may even surprise you. But in case you haven't been following this, you need a little refresher here. This is an incredibly tumultuous legal battle that Sharpe is now wrapped up in. You have this woman, who we're choosing not to name, by the way, even though it appears Shannon Sharpe and his legal team identified who she was. But you have this woman who has brought forth a lawsuit against the analyst alleging that she was in a relationship with him that began consensually back in 2023, but then turned very ugly. And that lawsuit that was filed on April 20th alleges that Sharpe raped this woman twice in October of 2024 and once in January of 2025. Key claims include, and I want you to brace yourself here because these are very disturbing allegations, that Sharpe raped her while she sobbed and ignored her pleas to stop, that he recorded her without her consent and shared videos with others, and that he even threatened her. In fact, here's part of Sharpe's response that he posted to his Instagram page with a pretty serious promise to fight back in court.
This is a shakedown. That video should actually be 10 minutes or so. Hey, Tony, instead of releasing your edit, put the whole video out. I don't have it or I would myself. You know what happened and you're trying to manipulate the media. The encounter in question took place during the day at her invitation. And now that appears to be a deliberate setup. What they're getting is sued for defamation and trying to take me down. My career is all about real talk and honesty. I know my family and fans know exactly what this is about. And I'm going to be out there telling you whatever I need to say, just like I always do. I love all you guys. Thanks.
This is a terrible situation any way you look at it. But there's a lot going on here. So there's a matter of people can have opinions, but what's going to happen? And the court of public opinion is a battleground. But the court of public opinion isn't necessarily going to decide whether or not who wins this case. So this is a civil case. It's not a criminal case. Among other things, there doesn't seem to have been a criminal case. Among other things, there doesn't seem to be a criminal case because on some level, this was consensual. I think that makes it more difficult to prove a criminal case, particularly given the passage of time. When you're talking about rapes and things like that, typically there is going to be the best opportunity to convict someone of rape if there's physical evidence. And my sense is that physical evidence probably doesn't exist in a situation where there's a great passage of time et cetera. So we've got a civil case. So whereas a criminal case says you have to prove guilt beyond reasonable doubt, Stephen A. was wrong when he talked about guilt or innocence. This is not what this is about. It's not guilt or it's not guilt or innocence. It's civil liability. It's not criminally guilty. It's civilly liable. But when you're talking about criminal liability, has to be beyond a reasonable doubt, a very high standard, which in what amounts to a he said, she said situation, there's going to be some things that will come around. But with no one else being there, with there being no physical evidence, it's going to be he said, she said situation that makes criminal liability very difficult. But civil liability is a lower standard. And you just need this balancing that we all talk about as lawyers, where it needs to be shifting one way or the other, more likely than not, based on the evidence, that what is being alleged actually occurred. Clearly, they're going to use a lot of information like the audio, the if there's any video, etc. If there is 30 seconds of the video used for the court of public opinion by the plaintiff, Shannon's going to want the whole kit and caboodle used if he believes that that adds context. That's missing. So all of those things are going to come surrounding, and then it just needs to be clear. It's clear that they had sex. It's clear that they were in a relationship. It seems like for some period of time. The question becomes, is she telling the truth as it pertains to these things, this rape that would amount to civil liability? I would be interested, among other things, to see if there is a deep passage of time between these two incidents. And if so, how she explains the fact that they ended up getting back together. People will be very, very judgmental about that. I'm not saying that rape could not have occurred when you come back voluntarily to someone that has already sexually assaulted you. I'm not saying that couldn't be the case. But what I am saying is that people on the jury, particularly, well, could be men or women, might be sitting there with their arms folded like a Laker fan at a Clipper game saying, now, how is it that this is not consensual if you go back to them some period of time afterward? What's hard about these situations is that the woman or the victim, which is often a woman, is often put on trial. And that's not fair. But my sense is her eyes were open once this case was brought. It sounds like to me she turned down $10 million, answered the offer of $10 million with the lawsuit. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens here, whether or not this ends up being a civilly liable situation, or if like 70 to 80%, if not more, of civil cases, it actually resolves one way or the other in favor of the parties deciding to settle, or in favor of the defendant, in this case, Shannon Sharpe, potentially doing a motion to dismiss the case. The other piece I would say is that it sounds like he's going to be adding some pressure by having a defamation case of his own in response. It's a cross-claim, but because he's a public figure, defamation is harder to show. Any way you look at it, Shannon's in some trouble. It's certainly going to cost him some time, some money. He's optimistic he wants to come back to ESPN this fall. Not sure that's necessarily going to happen unless he resolves this thing quickly. So we'll just have to pay attention and see what ends up happening. Listen, go into the chat and let us know what you think. Who's telling the truth here? And how's this thing going to come out? How's the jury going to look at it? Do you think you would see it differently than the jury would, or would you see it the same way? So let's chop it up, look it over, have some discussions, and we'll keep doing that on this and all other interesting issues this time and every time. All right, see you next time.